Welcome to the Nurse Shark Academy Show, a Baxter Professional Services production.
Thank you for tuning in to the Nurse Shark Academy Show, where we're experts in nursing and experts in business. Today's episode, we have Corinthia Loblack, the Bellyfat Shrink. Corinthia has a Bachelor of Science Degree in nursing from the University of the Virgin Islands and a Master's Degree in nursing from the Florida International University. She's a certified health and lifestyle coach, and she has a program helping nurses and other healthcare professionals on their wonderful journey of self-discovery and self-love called Heart Health Management. Welcome, Corinthia Loblack, to the show. And welcome to the Nurse Shark Academy Show. I'm Tina Baxter, your host. We're the Nurse Shark Academy, where we're experts in nursing and experts in business. And so for today's show, we'd like to introduce Corinthia Loblack, nurse practitioner, the Bellyfat Shrink. Corinthia Loblack is a master's prepared nurse from the Florida International University. She got her Bachelor of Science Degree in nursing from the University of the Virgin Islands, and she is a certified health and lifestyle coach. Welcome, Corinthia, to our show. Please further introduce yourself.
Hi, thanks for having me. I am Corinthia. I'm located right now in sunny Orlando. I'm from the tiny island in the Caribbean called Dominica. In my first life, I did dental nursing, which was taking care of kids. And then I found out that I loved people and wanted to take care of people and more or less help people help themselves in times when they are unable to do this. And that is why I went into nursing, to help people help themselves at a time when they are unable to, and to help them to get to that level where they can do it themselves.
That sounds wonderful. And I always like to know the backstory when we talk to our nurses. So what was your first nursing job?
My first nursing job was at the time when HIV was taboo. And everyone was okay, this is a death sentence. I worked at Mount Sinai in Miami at the immunology unit where the bulk of our clients or patients were HIV positive.
Wow, that's fascinating to be on the front lines of that epidemic. I remember when HIV first got on the scene, and I was working in the lab at that time. And it was basically, we don't know what it is, but here's a tetanus shot for you. I actually had a needle stick. And so they were like, oh, well, we don't know. We don't know which vial it was. We can't test it. We don't know what they had, but here's a tetanus shot for you. And yeah. And so coming full circle to seeing that there's a lot better medicine out there, that people are actually getting their viral loads so low that it's undetectable. I think that's wonderful. And I'm going to say kudos to you for being on the front line of that.
Yeah, it has really turned around where, people like Magic have lived for a long time.
Yes. I'm hoping that this is something that we can eradicate and that we put this behind us. That we don't have to see that rear its ugly head again. But having lived through that first wave of it too, and seeing the Ryan White story and all those different things, I think it has opened our eyes up to that HIV can affect or infect anyone as well.
Yes, definitely. Especially when you're in the front line, you're a healthcare worker, you're always exposed.
Yes. So speaking of exposure, so how did you transition from working with HIV to, you said you were working with a lot of people, different populations. So tell me about your nursing journey.
My nursing journey has taken me, in fact, I started with, again, on the HIV unit, and then branched out to cardiology, diabetes, obesity. I worked on post-cardiac surgery units for the bulk of my nursing career. My first internship as a nurse practitioner was within a weight loss center. So I've always been in that space between diabetes, endocrinology, heart disease. I was an endocrinology nurse practitioner for 5 years at an endocrinology practice in Kissimmee, Florida. And then I went into the hospital setting as a cardiovascular nurse practitioner where I screened patients in the emergency room for either going home or where they're placed on a different unit or have interventions to rule out heart. So I've always been in that space in diabetes and heart. Now, as I did that, I worked mostly nights, and I also worked within the the home health. And I noticed that we as nurses, we have no problems taking care of others. But we are so busy taking care of others that we forget that we need to take care of ourselves. And like so many nurses, when I was approaching midlife, I got metabolic syndrome. I was overweight. I was diagnosed with prediabetes, high blood pressure, placed on cholesterol medication. And it was awakening. My doctor this time was a holistic practitioner. So he said, you have to get off the night shift. I said, get off the night shift? That's where the differential is. You know?
That's right.
Yeah, I have 3 daughters that I need to take care of. So I did slowly get off the night shift, and I noticed that there was a change in the fact that my blood sugar had begun to stabilize a little bit. So I said, maybe that thing works. I finally got out of night shift, but what got it for me is being in groups where the focus was on self-love, self-appreciation, making sure that you are there for your kids is more than providing an income. It's showing them the way to take care of themselves so that they themselves will be healthy. And this is when my career started kind of making a U-turn on 180 from the bedside and the hospital to individualized care where I can work one-on-one, mostly with healthcare professionals, helping them to see that putting themselves first is not selfish.
That's a lot to unpack there, because of your personal story influenced your next career journey. And that self-care piece is a part that we miss a lot in healthcare as caretakers. I've talked to physicians, I've talked to nurses, I've talked to veterinarians, and it's that whole idea of taking care of yourself first so that you can bring your best self to take care of other people. And I think that's something that we're missing. So how has adding those that change in mindset and those good habits, how does that help your personal health? What was your personal health journey like?
After still on my journey, because I tell people, the healthcare journey, the wellness journey is a journey. It's not a sprint and you reach the finish line. It is something that you do every day, and you bring little habits, small things like, okay, I wake up in the morning, I love coffee. When my coffee is there, I do my sit-ups. So things that you associate with the things that you like. What are the things that you enjoy doing? And that has moved me to the point where after 3 to 5 years, I was off all medications. I have been at a weight that is considered a healthy weight. I'm able to do more of the things that I enjoy doing. And in that way, I'm able to help more people.
And it's not just a matter of taking away something from you, because you're saying add something healthy to something that you like. So I too like coffee. And I think rewarding yourself, that you have that time where your coffee's brewing to do your sit-ups or your push-ups or dancing in your kitchen, whatever it is that makes you happy, I think is important. How do you work with individuals? How did you come away from working in the hospital and doing what you do as a nurse practitioner, then to becoming an entrepreneur?
I've always thought that to better help anyone, I needed to get out of the institution where the mindset is more on management rather than healing or care.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did, I took a number of self-development courses because being an entrepreneur, it's a shift. It's a big shift in mindset. It's worries that there's the paycheck is not coming in. So you have to move from that paycheck mindset to that, okay, there are times when the paycheck will not be great, especially at the beginning. So getting there was taking a number of classes, reading a number of books, but most of all, surrounding myself with people that have been there. So I joined other nursing organizations or women organizations to basically say that, okay, they've done it, so I can do it. So surrounding myself with people who have been there has been the greatest push for me forward.
So what would you say your ideal client would be to come to your clinic as the Bellyfat Shrink? I just love that name, by the way.
Okay, the ideal kind of walks into my clinic as one is a healthcare professional. Now, that healthcare professional has poor sleep, doesn't sleep well at all, low energy, gets tired very easily, does not like the way their clothes fit, neither how the skin looks. And all they're asking for is why. So I help them get behind that why. Because if you don't know why, you can't move forward. You might try different diets. So helping them find out why on a personal level, I use the holistic functional medicine where food is medicine, but also I help them investigate. And what's the best way to do that is to take a blood sample, one. So we take a blood sample and look for different biomarkers. How is there insulin? How is there any inflammation? In some of my clients, I do a DNA testing to see how the DNA affects their metabolic rate. And this is not all, because you could have the blood test and the other pieces. But what is their past medical history? What is their past lifestyle? What have they tried before? What have worked? What have not worked? So we do a whole history. And what are your goals? How fast do you want to get there? Are your goals realistic? What are you willing to do to get there? Which is the big. And then have them do a contract, not with me, but with themselves.
Okay. So then how would somebody contact you if they wanted to work with you?
I am available. I have a clinic in Orlando. This is a local clinic where they could come in for consultation. But the bulk of my clients are online. So I have a virtual metabolic reset clinic. So all the information is on my website. There is a 30, 60, or 90-day metabolic reset, as well as a 5-day challenge to see whether, okay, is this for me before going into it. Afterwards, again, I said it's a lifestyle. It's not a one size fits all. It's personalized. And so there is not a 30-day, 90-day, 6 day is what for you. If you've not reached your goals, we have a maintenance program and also a membership program. So everything is online. You also get coaching every other week, depending on what plan you're in.
It's wonderful. And so you've offered to our guests, so those of you that are listening to the Nurse Shark Academy show, she's offered a free Zoom slim down session, as well as to receive your free diet ID. And you can get that from her website, correctivelifestyles.com. Is it /slim?
That's correct.
Yes, correctivelifestyles.com /slim. And there does not need to be a coupon code, but if you hear about us from the Nurse Shark Academy, let her know that you came from the Nurse Shark Academy, so she can let me know to make sure that our information is getting out there. And then, so let's shift a little bit more about talking about your entrepreneurial journey, because you mentioned attending some workshops, trainings, reading some books. Did you do a certification course to become a health coach, or did you decide to just go it on your own? I mean, obviously you're a nurse practitioner, so we're nurses, we coach anyway.
Yeah, we are nurses coach, but we are trained to tell people what to do. With coaching, we let the information, the motivational interview as well, we let that come from the individual, because if it comes from the individual, they're more apt to do that. So I did attend National Society of Health Coaching coaching program, and also the nurse coaching program with Linda Banks. So
okay. Great. Awesome. And so I want our nurses to understand and hear that you can shift and pivot in your career. Even as a nurse practitioner, there's other things that you can do that can still help your clients, help your patients, and develop a practice on your own. Now, given what you do you work with a holistic health doctor, or are you an independent practice?
I am independent. I'm independent practice. I do network with a number of nutritionists, the nutrigenomics for gene testing, custom pharmacies so that they could custom make supplements and medications, because my clinic is a medically supervised clinic. So we do have custom medications.
Awesome. Okay. All right. And so that's important to know. So what's one of the biggest lessons you've learned as an entrepreneur?
One of the biggest lessons I've learned as an entrepreneur is that you can't do it alone. At the beginning, I said, okay, you're the beginning, you scratch for funds, so you're trying to keep all your funds together. So you put yourself in too many hats, especially if you don't enjoy doing something. You delegate it, your time and the amount of time you take to do that, as well as helping build on your entrepreneurial skills. You give what you don't like or what you don't know too well. There's a learning curve. So while learning, just let somebody do it.
I found that to be very helpful when I built my second website as a legal nurse consultant. The first website I had someone build for me. I just gave him the information and I expected him to know how to put it together in a more professional way. And I realized I was asking for the bells and whistles on a budget that was not that. And so when I built my second website, I hired someone to do that could give me all the bells and whistles and do the things that I wanted it to do. And then my third website, I actually learned how to build it myself. I say all that because when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes you have to start out with the bare minimum and just get your name out there and just put a website together and go for it. And you can certainly get someone on Fiverr or other venues to do it for you at a low cost. But then as you grow, you may want to change and pivot. And it sounds like that's what you've done. As you've grown, you've added on more people. So do you have a staff that works with you? You have an MA or?
Therefore, just virtual
So
and
you have
on and virtual and on as needed.
That's wonderful. So you have a medical assistant that's virtual?
Yes.
Now that's fascinating to me because I know a lot of nurse practitioners that are starting their own practices. And now that we're in the age of telehealth and virtual visits, how does your virtual MA work with you? How did you find them?
This is someone that I knew before, really.
Mhm.
So we worked together at the hospital before. So when I
Okay.
wanted someone, and since I also have a web platform,
Mhm.
so it's easy for her to pull things out there.
Hmm. That's giving me business ideas right there. I'm like, if I was a medical assistant and you had the opportunity to do that, I mean, that might be something interesting to do is to work virtually as a medical assistant and a virtual practice. I mean, they can work remotely as well. So that's an interesting business model. And then lastly, before we go, I wanted to ask you if you had one piece of advice for a brand new nurse entrepreneur, what would it be?
Go slow. Be aware of people out there who say they could do certain things. So get if you want to get referrals, go on places like maybe that's not advertising, hopefully, like a line of places that way you could get reputable people to refer to you because you might end up spending so much money up front and get almost nothing in return.
That's a great piece of advice, and word of mouth is key. I just happened to leave our local Black Chamber of Commerce event this morning, and there's a company there that they are a medical, non-emergent medical transport company, minority owned, and working with them to try to get their name out more. I think their services are so needed, but a lot of people don't know that they're available, that the insurance could pay for it because they take all insurances, and that it could be a benefit. And I wonder if that's something similar in your case. How many people know that you're there? And we're always looking for something. You see those Facebook ads on there. This is, take this pill or wear this garment or buy. Now there's a thing that it's older concept actually, but it's sort of body sculpting where you buy this vibrator and it's supposed to vibrate your fat away. I don't know. So we see all kinds of gimmicks and tricks out there. So it's great to find someone that is in the trenches, but also has the background, the medical background to answer those questions that people have. So I want to make sure that they can get a hold of you again. So go to her website. This is Cynthia Loblack, correctivelifestyles.com /slim. So I want to thank you for coming. As always, thank you for tuning in to the Nurse Shark Academy. We have coming up a variety of events, so you can always check out our website at the nursesharkacademy.biz to get our local events and when our podcasts are uploaded. We upload our podcast twice a month. We thank you, Corinthia Loblack, for being here today. And do you have any parting or final words?
Thank you for having me. And self love is the best care.
I happen to agree. All right, that ends our show for today. And again, don't forget to tune in to our next episode coming up. We put up our podcast twice a week. We also have our blog posts, twice a month, and our blog posts twice a month. Thank you for tuning in to the Nurse Shark Academy. I'm Tina Baxter, your hostess. Thank you again. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay.
Wait, don't go. There's a very important announcement from the Nurse Shark Academy. Look for the information at the nursesharkacademy.biz. And thanks for tuning in to our podcast, the Nurse Shark Academy Show. I just wanted to remind you that coming up on May 10th and 11th, during Nurses Week, we'll be having our Nurses for the Kingdom Challenge. This is Kingdom Principles for your nursing career, nursing showing up and showing out. That'll be May 10th and 11th from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Registration information will be following, so just put that on your calendar. Love to see you. Bye-bye for now.